You seem like a friendly social person. I assume
Okay,
you like
good.
the company of other people. I
Yeah.
am curious, why do you embark on these? What's important? Why are these solo missions important?
Yeah. Um, I think for me, I mean, I can, I'm a therapist, so bear with me because I feel pretty deeply. And so, I feel a lot of feelings very strongly. And so for me, being out there solo, it really is very much a spiritual space for me. It, for me, is one of the only times in my life that I've ever felt just for days being in the moment, like not having to try to be in the moment. You know, when you're in the moment, like how that flow, that sense of flow, like how good it can
Hmm.
feel when you're not ruminating on the past, you're not predicting or trying to future tell anything, and you're just ooh, like right here, like very grounded. Um, when I'm out there alone, I get that for hours on end. Whereas like if we're talking climbing, and I know you're a climber, and I know you'll get this when you're doing a climb, a lot of times we can get into that present moment and be in flow. And so it's, I'm a sport climber, so it's maybe, a few minutes long or something like that. But bike packing by myself, because it's not quite the same with someone else. But when I'm solo, it's like being able to be in that moment for an extended period of time. So to me, it feels very spiritual. Um, it's very fulfilling. It's very soul fulfilling to be out there alone. I've gone with friends, and that's super fun too. There's just something deeper about when I'm out there alone, if that makes sense.
I I I think I feel you.
Yeah.
You are adventurous, but then also introspective,
Yeah.
and I sense that while you're exploring the outdoors, you're also exploring yourself in a way.
That's right. Kush, you should be a therapist.
I'm curious, like, what are these uh, personal limits, these challenges that you find in these adventures? Just maybe in the bike packing aspect that
Yeah.
makes you hungry and crave those feelings.
Yeah. That struggle piece, I think what you're kind of like those moments out there by myself. So I'm thinking things like, you've been on in the saddle for like 12 hours or something, and so it's more exhausted than I've ever been. You're more tired than you've ever been. You still have to navigate. I mean, you're out there alone, so you got to figure this out. And you still have to navigate. You got to figure out how to set up your tent. If you're running out of water, it's like, okay, where's my next water source? Do I have to run and get what, those sort of things. It's very much this, you feel like you're trying to survive, just physically
Hmm.
survive. And it's a part of my life. I had never experienced that before. I'd never put myself in a space where I was physically trying to survive on my own. And it sounds so silly as I'm saying out loud because it's like, is that really fun? And it's like, well, in the moment, it can even be scary. But it's when you move through that struggle, it's like you get out on the other side, and when you come home, everything feels so much more amazing, like that shower that you take for granted every morning feels like the most
Mm.
amazing experience you've ever had, or you get to sleep in your bed for the first time.
Hmm.
It's so I think the struggle out there, although in the moment might not be fun, if you will, it's like hard and can be painful. It gives back this this ability to really really sense and feel and experience life when you're back home, or when you're back to civilization on this much more richer level, right? So it
Mm.
gives this other part of my life so much more richness.
Unlike, let's say, some of the more talented and extreme end of the adventure world,
Hmm.
I also like my creature comforts. but I also like having a bit of hardship that makes
Yes.
me earn those creature
Yeah, there you go.
comforts. So
Yeah.
coming back to, like you said, a warm bed after spending a few days sleeping in the dirt,
Right.
or having a nice meal on good. Yeah, I don't know. I sound silly, but on
You
good
get it.
china, on good china after
Yes,
eating out
right,
of
right.
those things are quite nice. I'll ask you one last question in this theme, which
Sure.
is, you have to have a certain degree of self-reliance, a high
Yeah.
degree actually, when you are bike packing and then doing that solo. What's the let's say the most difficult equipment malfunction that you
Oh,
had to resolve?
well, Kush, first of all, I'm going to tell you this, and my friends would tell you this too. I honestly, and I got to knock on wood for this one. I've never even changed a bike tire. I know, right? You would think that I should know how to do these things. So I am not great at that stuff. So, and this is part of the message that I love to share with people, and particularly women, just because I think women have a lot. I mean, I don't, I'm just going to generalize. I think in general, women have more fear doing these things. And so I like to talk to them about, but this could go for anyone, like to do the stuff I'm doing. It's like it does, you can, you don't need to necessarily know all these amazing mechanical things and how to fix them. You know what I do? I download YouTube videos, like, how to change a tire, and I've got little notes in my phone. And I mean, worst case scenario, I couldn't get it fixed, like someone's gonna come and find me. Some people know where I'm at. So I just don't, I don't know. I like to put out the message that that doesn't have to be a barrier to get started, right? Now, I'm
Mm,
not going to go do the 500 miles of the Arizona Trail, like,
mm,
without knowing some of these things. But, the stuff I'm doing, I'm not this crazy adventure athlete compared to like racers and all that. I'm just this 50-year-old mom, who just knows the importance of adventure in her life, who knows the importance of
mhm,
struggle in her life.
mhm,
And I don't want to sit on the sidelines and not do something because I'm intimidated about changing a bike tire, if that makes sense.
mm,
So when you add, I didn't exactly answer your question. Um, Thankfully, I've never had anything major go wrong when I've been out there alone. I was one time with a friend who I did lose a tire. She had to change my tire for me, so she did it. But yeah, it just, it doesn't have to be a barrier into any of those things. If I would hypothetically, what would be really bad would be if like I crashed on my bike or something. I
mm.
mean, that would probably be worst case scenario, I suppose.